I'll say how much does each seat cost? I'll insert one more uh, column over here, and I'll say um, cost, total cost. Okay, that's awesome. I'll just zoom out a bit, and I'll just uh, select and Autofit column width so I can see everything clearly. Okay, so can I have some movie names in the chat box? Some interesting movie names. Tenet. Okay, we'll type Tenet. Prestige. Okay, Tenet, Prestige, Dia, and Eternal. So this will do for now. So we have four movie lists which are typed over separate over here. First, let's consider Tenet. Okay, so Tenet has three categories of seats. That's diamond, no, platinum, gold, and silver. Cool. And platinum costs about, let's say, 10. Okay, let's use dollars for this. I'm feeling a little fancy today, so let's use dollars. Um, I'll just say 10 for now, and I'll say 5, and I'll say 3. So platinum costs $10, gold costs $5, and silver costs $3. That's cool. But I think we missed out a column again. Again, I'll go insert entire column, and I'll say um, how many seats booked. Over here, I'll say 5. Over here, I'll say maybe 20. Over here, I'll say 30. Okay, so my Excel sheet seems to be getting somewhere. That's really cool. However, over here you see I just mentioned them as $10, $5, $3. But how will someone who gets this Excel sheet, or someone who sees this Excel sheet for the first time, get to know that, all right, this is dollar or this is rupees? There's not really like, if you look at it directly, I don't think so. You can get to know that, is it in dollars, is it in money? You can always go up to this uh, ribbon over here that says number, and then you can see a small symbol which says which kind of shows a currency kind of icon over here. So you click on that and you say dollars English United States. It'll automatically add the dollar sign. You can select them again, and then you can say rupees for India, and it'll still and it'll have the data type of rupees. So right now I'll go and use dollars. All right. So let's enter some more dummy data. I'll say prestige. Prestige again has platinum, and it has silver. You guys can see my, if you guys can see my screen, you'll see that Excel is auto completing the elements that I've typed already. So I'll just hit enter, and then it'll auto complete again. Same for gold, I'll just hit enter. I'll copy these data sets again and paste. I'll just change the number. I'll make it 6. I'll make this 26, and I'll make this 40. Okay, that's cool. But and then I'll type yeah. I'll copy this again and I'll paste it. Okay, so but then see right now my data set is small, all right. So I can just go on typing data forever and ever again and again. I can just keep copy pasting it because my data set is small. But let's say I have to generate like data for 10 more movies. It gets really, really hard, right? So this is where something, the concept of um, formulas come. So formulas in Excel are just like the standard meaning of formulas in Excel is what you heard since your school days for math formulas, etc. However, in Excel, formulas will, if you type a formula in a particular cell, it'll give you the required output provided the formula is in the right syntax and you have used the right formula. So the syntax usually goes like you press equals to sign and then you say the name of formula, whatever name it is, particular name, and then close parentheses. Inside that, you type out your required uh, values or anything which we will see later. So yeah, like I was saying, it's really difficult to type out each data for me again and again if the data set is really huge. So Excel has a solution for this. What you can do is you can use this formula called RANDBETWEEN. Okay, you can use this formula called RANDBETWEEN. I will say equals to sign rand, and you can see a drop down list that appears. I'll click on the RANDBETWEEN, and then it says, and then I can give a limit, upper limit and lower limit from which Excel will choose numbers. So for platinum seats, I want the seats to be only between 1 and 10 always. So I'll do that and I'll press enter. You can see the cell change to 7. I'll repeat the same thing again, equals to sign rand between um, rand between, and you have to give an upper limit and a lower limit. Excel will choose a number on its own between these limits. So I'll say I want the seats to be between 30 and 40. And I'll do the same thing over here, rand between rand between 40 and 60. Okay, that's awesome. And these three costs remain the same. All right, so my Excel sheet seems to be going somewhere. Okay, so what now next thing is we'll fill in the total cost um, column. Again, I'll be using formulas for this. All I have to do is, what's the total cost? It's each seat into number of seats that have been booked. So I just have to say equals to sign and open up, and then I will hold the shift key so that Excel knows that I want to use the element C5, and I'll hold another shift key. I'll press the asterisk sign so that it's multiplied, and then I'll hold the shift key again and press D5 and I'll close it. So that gives me the cost. 5 into 10 is 50, so uh, $50 is the total cost. Okay, so last time what I did was I typed out the formula each time, which was really getting really hectic. If you have a huge data set, you can't do that. So a small trick is you can go to the right corner of your cell and you can just drag these elements. You'll see that Excel fills the whole column on its own, and rightly so. Okay, so that was something about the multiplying. Now, the first week earning in May becomes the total of, let's say, the total of these many cells. Okay, what I can do is to go to first week earning May, and I'll press equals to sign. And to add all the elements, you can obviously go open up a bracket like this, and then you can select each element, like you can select each element, hold perhaps and hold plus sign, and then here again. So you can obviously go on doing that, but then Excel has a solution. You can just say equals to sum, and then you can say, you can select the range that is from E5 to E13, and then close the bracket. Damn, the total is here. So that gives you your total earning in first week of May. So this is how a basic Excel sheet looks like, and this is how basic formulas are. I'll go to a new cell over here and just show you guys some more formulas. Okay, I'll go here. I'll just type some formulas that I know. So you can see everything which has sum, and then I'll just say rand. So again, that has a lot of formulas. What's interesting is if I zoom in a little bit more, let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so if what's interesting is not only is the formula name visible, but also next to it, I can see what the formula does. Like radians converts degrees to radians. Rand returns a random number greater than or equal to 0 and less than 1. And then rand between will let you generate a random number between so and so numbers you specify, and so on and so on. There's an interesting way of using these formulas. You can put a formula inside a formula. Like, let me show you an example. There's a formula called choose. There's a formula called choose, which says chooses a value or action to perform a list of values based on an index number. All right, I'll say choose, and then I'll say rand between, rand between, um, I'll say 5, and okay, I'll say 1 to 4, and then I'll close this, and then I'll put comma again, and then I'll enter 4 random numbers: 30, 40, 50, 60, and I'm going to close this. Oh, see, okay, so it gave the output as 30. So what basically happened here is the it's this whole formula says that choose a random number between these 4 numbers and give me the output. So the syntax was first you hit choose, and then to generate the random number only between these 4 numbers. Like your output is always going to be either 30, either 40, either 50, either 60, but nothing between 30, between 40, 50, nothing between. It's only going to be 30, 40, 50, 60. So it chooses a random number which have been stated over here. So that's what this formula does. And so if I copy it again, like if I copy the formula or our set of columns, you can see some numbers have been generated, and all are between 30, 40, 50, all are either 30, either 40, either 50, or either 60. So that's about how to use formulas. Mm, I'll zoom out a bit again. All right, so I'll delete this. Okay, so over here you can see my Excel still looks kind of unkept. It doesn't look clear and it's not yet fully neat. I'll delete the elements of this unnecessary rows that I have. I'll delete that. Then I want this to be in a center. I can obviously copy and put it in the center, but then that does not help me. These lines which are there, they're still kind of a obstruction. So I can just select this, select the range over which I want it to be seen, and I can click something over here called merge and center. So you can see the cells have been merged, all the cells have become one cell, and then it's in the center. Same thing, I can select these things, and then I'll make it bold. But then if I type over here again, it's not bold. So if you want to make the whole row bold, you can just select the entire row like I did. Go to the number 4 and select the entire row and click on bold, and your work is done. Also, to make it a little more attractive, you can add colors to this. You can add colors. Let's say this a particular movie gets a particular color. So Tenet was kind of dark and a lot of too complicated. So I'll add this. Prestige is an amazing magician's movie. So I'll make it a little bright. I'll make it orange. Dia was very heart-touching movie. So I'll make it green. Fine. So my Excel looks better, but then it's it's kind of very frustrating to do this individually for all the elements. So I could have just gone to I could have just selected my data set, and then I could have gone to view, and I could have changed the whole theme of this. I could have just changed the theme of this spreadsheet. Uh, Yeah, I could have just changed the theme. I could have um, I so let me say something like gallery with font changes, and then I can select colors. So yeah, that's about how to like format your cells and things like that. All right. So now that you know how to make your own data set, basic data set, and you can format it however you want. You can make it look more fancy, more clean, however you want. So now that that's done, maybe we can move on to the next data set. But before that, any doubts guys over what has been taught until now? Okay, no doubts. But then you guys missed something. Uh, you guys missed something. Over here, you can see that this, if let's say I change this, I add something over there. You can see that this data, it keeps changing again and again. So how do you guys prevent that? What you have to do is, you have to select this, you have to hit copy, but if you just paste it again, your values will change again. That's not what you have to do. You have to copy it, and then while pasting over here in a different cell, you can say paste values. So if you say paste values, no matter what you do, the values won't get changed. See, only the values on top are changing. Over here, since I've pasted the values don't get changed. Yep. So that's about uh, some basic outline of Excel. You can know, so far you know how to generate data on your own. Uh, you know how to format cells. You know how to enter, and you know some basic formulas like multiplication, addition, and you also know how to generate random numbers. You know you can use formulas inside formulas. That's really cool. So let's go on to an interesting data set that I have next. I call it the Harry Potter data set. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Fine. So if you are a data scientist or if you are working with Excel in a professional environment, 90% of the time when you get the data, this is how it looks. Okay, all of it is just in one cell. So if I click on A1, let me zoom in a bit. And if I click on A1, all of this is just in one cell. If I click on B1, it's empty. It's so difficult to manage it when everything is just in one cell. And to be honest, this is not how Excel is supposed to work. And so what you can do is you can um, cut everything and then paste each thing on each cell, and then you can do the same thing for what 139 uh, rows and so many columns. But if you are a little smart, you know Excel already has a solution to this. You just click on the whole row, which has to be formatted properly, and then you click on data. You click on data, and then you go to text two columns. Okay, you go to text two columns. Over here, a box will appear, and then you can see that it says original data type. Choose the file type that best describes your data. I'm going to say delimited because in between my data, there's something, semicolons are there instead of just a space. So I'm going to say delimited. I'll click on next, and then I'll click on the element which separates my data sets. So that's semicolon. You can obviously choose other elements depending on your data sets. You can say comma, you can say space. So that's about how to go about it. So I selected semicolon, and then over here down you can see a sample of how Excel is splitting up my columns. Pretty decent, yeah. That's really cool. It has done almost everything properly. I don't see anything going wrong. That's awesome. So I'll just click on next. And then over here, you can give you the data type of each column. Like if you are a programming enthusiast, you know what data type is. Data type is like a specific type assigned to each variable. In this case, in Excel, like there's text data type for normal text, and there's date, and there's numbers, and there are types of numbers. We'll get into that later. But however, over here, there's a column which deals with dates. So over here on top, it says general, but it's not general, right? It's a date. So I can click on this date, and then Excel will know that this column contains dates. Over here, I can click on text so that Excel knows this is a text. So you can format your columns like this, and then once you're done, once you're satisfied, once everything is clear, you can just click on finish and click OK. Boom. You see how Excel individually split the data. ID is proper, name is proper, gender is proper, job is proper, house is proper, font, and so everything seems really, really fine. Okay, looks decent. Okay, so now again, it's really hard to read all this. I can select everything, but instead of selecting everything so manually, I'll just click on the first cell, hold shift, and then come down to the last corner, scrolling down. I'll click on this, the last corner cell, and it will automatically select the whole data set for me. So I'll click on this. That will automatically select the whole data set for me. And then now I'll go back to home, format, and then Autofit column width. Okay, so that makes it more clean. So to understand these things better, let me just zoom in and show you all. Yeah, everything looks clean and decent, fine. But over here, so now that your data is clean, uh, you can clearly see what all things are visible. You can see that some rows are empty, some data is not filled, and a lot of ones are unknown, and there are some indiscrepancies that like the data is not uniform. There are some empty, and there might be duplicate data also. So what you can do is, let's say if you want to see if the name column has some duplicate data, so then you just go to data and then you click on um, not able to find the, okay, yeah. So you click on the row which you want, and then over here you click on remove duplicates. So it just removes all the duplicate values, and then a dialog box appears which says expand the selection or continue with current selection. I'll just say continue with current selection and click on remove duplicates and click on OK. So it says no duplicate values found. Okay, that's cool. Let's try with something else. Let's go to house now, and then again I'll say click on duplicates, continue with current selection, remove duplicates. Okay. So you can see 131 duplicate values were found, 8 unique values remain. Here's the thing though, if you can see the background, you can see Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Slytherin, and the empty row, Hufflepuff, Academy of Magic, and then Drumstrang Institute. All right, so what Excel understood is only in this row, whichever data is repeated, I'll delete that. But then you don't want that because this again messes up the whole data set. Like um, Lily Potter doesn't have a house anymore. James Potter doesn't have a house anymore. So what Excel understood is I just have to delete the repetitive values in these columns. But that's not what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to like select the if there's a repetitive value for everything, only then you delete. So then you click on remove duplicates again, and then you select the columns and then search for duplicates again and then delete. So that's how it works. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just zoom out. You can unsee that it's very hard to zoom in and zoom out all the time. So I can just select the whole data set and then I'll go to view. I'll say zoom to selection. So that way, whatever, like the whole data set gets zoomed properly. Let's see it again. I'll just zoom out. I'll just zoom out the whole thing. Now I'll select the data properly and then I click on zoom to selection. You can see it grows bigger and it fits the data to the screen. So that's how zoom to selection works. All right. So now that some of the data is clean as well, and we know how to clean a data, we know how to format a data. we'll just quickly jump into some other features. Okay, so how do you make sense of so many columns, so many data? How do you make sense of these? Like, how do you know what's different, what's there, what's not there? I mean, surely you can go and first thing you have to know is you have to know what each column has. Like there's gender, job, house, and there's loyalty, eye color, skill, there's so many things. Let's just hold to house right now. Let's just go to the house column. I'll zoom in a bit over there and I'll go to home and I'll click on home. Okay, so over here you can see something called conditional formatting. So what you can do is to know which of the data are standing out and which are not standing out, you can automatically mark them, you can highlight them, you can set them apart unlike your other columns. So I'll just show you an example. I'll click on conditional formatting, go to highlight cell rule, and then I'll say text that contains Ravenclaw. Okay, I hope there are some Ravenclaw fans over here. You know what? I'll just choose a more popular one. I'll say Gryffindor. I want all the Gryffindors to be sorted with red. So I'll just say red, yeah. And then you can see all the Gryffindors are sorted in red. I can do the same thing with Slytherin as well. With red. Okay. But then I can change the color. I can say green fill with dark green text and yeah, so it changes again. You can see that if you zoom out a little bit, you can see that all the Slytherin and Gryffindors are standing out in the data set. All right, so the same thing you can do with numbers column as well. You can do it with text. Like let me click on conditional formatting. You'll see that there are other things that you can do. You can highlight cells which are greater than so and so number. You can highlight cells which are less than so and so numbers, between so and so numbers, equal to so and so numbers, text that contains, date occurring, or just duplicate values. And then you can go on data bars and then you can generate a data for each cell. And then you can say color cells, you can say icons, and then icons will automatically mark them accordingly. We'll get into more examples of it a bit later on, but that's some basic introduction to conditional formatting. Now, quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy some of the data set into the other another sheet. So I'll just select half of this. I hope it's the half, and then I'll Control X, and then I'll copy this over here. All right, so that's done. Some of the data is there and some of it is here. Cool. Okay, so I can rename this sheet as Excel Harry Potter 2. All right. So 9 out of 10 times, it's not like you guys are going to be working only with one sheet, right? You guys will have so many sheets with so many similar uh, values. So I'll just add the column as well for the sheet 2. I'll select the entire row. I'll copy and go to sheet 2, zoom in, and then select the entire row and then say insert copied cells, which automatically inserts the copied cell. So now I have a column names for these as well. So yeah, like I was talking, like I was saying, 9 out of 10 times, or maybe 90% of the times, you guys will have to handle multiple sheets at once. So like this will have some set of data, this will have some set of data. But if there are some common cells between each sheet, like name is common for both of them, you can handle uh, operations for both the sheets at the same time. All you have to do is click on this row name and then click on a hold shift and then click on this sheet as well. So now you can see both the sheets are selected, and then I'll just double click name. I'll say name of the character. I'll change the column name, and then you can see that name has been changed in the sheet in sheet 2 as well. I've changed the sheet name in sheet 1, but the changes have been reflected in sheet 2 as well. The same operation can be done for almost anything, like job. I can just change it to job description, and you can see that it'll reflect in your other data set as well. Excel, yeah, over here, job description. So that's how you handle multiple sheets. Not only changing the cell names, you can do a lot of things like you know maybe you want to plot charts, or you want to operate on a particular formula for all the sheets at once. So you can do that as well. Okay, so that's how you go about it. But then even okay, so all right. So any doubts over this particular data set or what I've covered until now? All right, no doubts, I assume. So the next data set which we are going to open is quite interesting as well. So this is a data set about box office collections. Yeah, you can see that I'm somewhat of a movie lover. So this particular sheet is about box office collections. Let's quickly run through the names of each column. So there's movie name, there's movie opening, movie weekend, movie first week, movie total worldwide, total collection, movie and then movie directors and release date, and then runtime, producer, banner under which the film is made, and then the main lead actors, and then movie details. So this is the data set. However, over here you can see that this release date column, it's acting weird, right? There are so many hashtags over here, but that's just what Excel does if the column is too small and the data has to be compressed. So if you just increase the column width, you can see the dates clearly. If I decrease it again, you can see the hashtags return. The same applies for any column you do. So for runtime and then this. So yeah, now that we know the column names, we'll select the data again. I'll hold shift, come down. Wow, okay, that's a lot of data. And then I'll select this. I hope I've selected everything. And then I'll say format, Autofit column width so that everything is more clear. And I don't want to miss out on this, so I'll color these cells with green, light green. Okay, fine. All right, so uh, let's quickly perform some operations on this data set. The first thing I want to do is I want to create one more column, and then I'll call this movie total. So let's assume that the amount of money this movie has earned is is movie opening plus movie weekend. Okay, so I'll just say equals to and sum, and then select this, hold shift, select, and then select this, and then close it. You get it. So I can obviously drag this and fill the columns, but over such a huge data set, it's very tedious to do so. I'll just zoom out. I'll zoom out a little bit more. I'll hold shift, select this, come down, come down, and I'll select the last column, and then I'll just click on fill over here, and then I'll say fill down. So it automatically fills the entire column for me instead of me dragging down so much. So that's movie total. Okay. So again, this is quite a huge data set, and to understand this completely, you might have to perform some operations. Like I said, conditional formatting is one of them. Conditional formatting is one of them. I'll just go here. I'll select movie opening, movie weekend, movie firstly columns, and then I'll go to conditional formatting. I'll go to colors icon sets, and I'll just click on one of the icon sets. Let's say I use this traffic cells one. You can see that on the left side there are so many icons appearing, small icons. So what Excel does is it automatically categorizes some of the data sets. So everything which is less than so and so number, it'll give it in black. Everything which is really high, which is really good, is in red color, and everything which is even better than what red color was, that comes in yellow. And then the green icon is usually for the highest of the highest data sets. So you kind of get a basic understanding using conditional formatting. And then you can use the same sense to banners and movie details as well. So I'll just go to banners, and I'm just interested in movies which are uh, produced under the banner of Geo Studios. So I'll just say text that contains Geo Studios. I'll fill it with light red, and then again I want some more uh, columns. I'll say Yash Raj Films, and then I'll change the color to yellow. Okay, so that's conditional formatting there. And then for movie total, I just want numbers which are more than, let's say, 100 crores. I just want those movies, and I want them to filled with red text. Yeah, red text. Okay. So yeah, you can see, if you zoom in, you can see that everything which is more than 100 is highlighted. All right, so now you zoom out and someone sees this Excel sheet, they'll be like, okay, yeah, this makes a little bit sense. So and so are the columns, and so are the sheets, etc. But then uh, Excel doesn't stop over here. There's a lot of things that you can do over here. Uh, let's go down to the bottom, and let's add three categories over here. That's maximum. Okay, no, wait. First one will let's say total, and then we'll say maximum, and then we'll say minimum, and then we'll say average. So for total, I want the total earning of this above column. So I'll just say equals to sum, and then I'll say I'll have to add the range. So I'll hold shift and on top and select this, and then close the bracket and hit enter. You can see that total has come. I'll drag the same thing over here for these set of rows as well, and the total has come out again. For maximum, I'll say max, and then select the range again. Select the range again, close it, and then drag it. So yeah, that gives me my max. No guesses for what the formula for min is. It's obviously min. And I'll select, I'll close it. Okay, oops. Okay, minimum is done. I'll repeat it. Average. So now this is for average again. It's average. Boom. All right, so I've got my average. So now I can make more sense of the data which I have. I can understand how much Bollywood is earning on an average, how much was the maximum collection, was the minimum and lowest collection, and was the total collection. I can understand it more. If I want, I can put all of these in something called charts, and this happens to be most interesting part of Excel and something which we all know since our childhood. Different types of plots over here. You just have to go to insert and see there's a bar column, there is a pie chart, there's a line and scatter column, and there are different types of charts. So I'll go to the column and right. And to make this bigger, a lot bigger, you just have to drag and it'll become bigger. Okay, so you guys can see that the chart is plotted. There's a legend over here, and I mean by legend I mean like what each color on the graph represents for each category and things like that. So over here, Excel recognizes this as 1, this as 2, this as 3, this as 4, and this as 5. So, but that's not what a normal human would recognize. So I can just double click on that. I just double clicked on the x-axis, and I can change what I can modify them. I can, increase their size and distance from the axis. So distance from axis, let's say I make it 400. You can see that it's gone a bit further, and then I would, okay, if you give, okay, so you can change the, like different aspects of each axis. You can make them pattern fill, you can change the color, you can say no fill. Okay, oops. You can just increase the transparency, which makes it completely transparent. You can also change the chart title over here. You can just say, you can say bar graph or forming. That's one way to go about it. And then there's a small plus symbol over here. I'll just zoom it a bit. I've closed this, and okay. Over here, there's a small plus symbol. I click on that, and then I say access titles. The access titles become visible for each um, axis over here. So y-axis has a title, x-axis has a title now. And then I can also add data labels, which will give numbers on top of the chart. I can say data table, which will print the table over there. And I can set the trend line for a particular column. So you can see that the trend line. We'll get to the trend line part later. So right now for axis titles, I can say this is the x-axis, or I can call it formatting. And then I can say y-axis or earnings in crore. So uh, that's how you can format your Excel. You can increase the size and you can go on formatting it. And then over here below the plus symbol, you have something called chart style, where you can modify how good your chart looks. So this is style 2. This is the dark version of the dark mode of this chart. And then there's gradients. So I like the dark mode really well. So I'll choose the dark mode, and for now I'll push it down a bit. I'll push this graph a bit down. Oops. Okay. So I'll keep it here for now. Now let me go back to the data set. Now you guys understood how to make some basic sense out of these numbers and how to draw the charts particularly. You can obviously go for multiple charts. Like you can make a pie chart out of it. You can make more bar graphs or scatter plots. So that's you can use your creativity with the charts and the formulas which you use. So like right now, let me just show you an example. What I can do is to understand how big is the movie opening, because movie opening for every movie is hyped up a lot. So I'll just insert one column. I want to understand how big is actually a movie opening day for every movie. So I'll say movie opening percentage, and then I'll so movie opening percentage can be movie opening divided by movie total and then multiplied by 100. But there's a small tool. I'll show that to you all in a minute. For now, I'll say equals to, I'll close the bracket. I'll say movie opening divided by movie total, and then I'll close it. So it gives me a number. I'll zoom out a bit, hold shift, select this, scroll down, scrolling, okay. And then I'll click over here, and then I'll say fill down, and it automatically fills everything. But then you can see all of this is in decimals, right? Oops. Yeah, so all of these are in huge decimals. So it's hard to understand them. And like I said, this column was really for percentages. So all you have to do is you have to select this column, and you can see a small percentage symbol over here which says format as percent. So you just click on that, and all of your data is automatically condensed into percentage. See, the whole column is now a percentage. So I can draw a graph chart over this, and I can see the trends over how movie opening is with movie percentage. I can understand, is it really worth the hype? Is it true what all the movie formula makers, is it like worth all the, all these movie reviewers, they hype up movie opening so much? Is it really worth all that? I can understand that in more detail. All right, so that's how percentage and charts work. The next thing is this data set right now over here is quite huge, right? I mean, I'll have to zoom out about 23% and it still doesn't fit properly. So it's really difficult and I might as well say it's kind of stupid to, make sense out of such a big data set all at once. If you look closely, you can see some movies have earned zero over the weekends, and it's not really worth it to um, analyze these data sets. I mean, these movies are small. People hardly remember this. Even you look at the minimum column, the minimum earning over a weekend is 0.25 crore, and it's kind of not necessary to make sense of such data set. So what you can do is you can use a very strong tool called filter. So just select your entire data set, select your entire data set, and then click filter. So what this basically does is it gives you a small drop down kind of a tool over here. Let me just do that again. Now that I've selected the data set, I'll just click on filter and just look at the right side of each cell. Okay, it gives us a drop down menu, and then I'll just click on. I can filter. I can filter these columns according to how I want. I can either remove some movies, or I can sort them A to Z. So once I sort them A to Z, you can see that everything is in alphabetical order, or I can sort them according to, however I like. So in the movie opening, I can sort them from highest to lowest, lowest to highest. Same as well for here. So that's about how to deal with numbers. So filtering, this is one way to go about it. Okay, so I'll just zoom in over here. I'll just zoom in over here. Since I've conditionally formatted this particular column called banner, I'll zoom in and I'll click on this drop down menu. Over here, you can see certain options like sort A to Z, sort Z to A, sort by color, filter by color, and text filters. So if I say filter by color and I choose yellow, so it'll give me only those movies which have been produced by under the banner Yash Raj Films. And then now again I can perform some analysis like maximum, minimum, and the rest of the charts as well. If I let's just zoom in over here, total, maximum, minimum, average again. You can see that these values have these values are more filtered out right now, and you can easily perform analysis. You can draw the charts and you can understand how well Yashraj has performed. Let's just go to other color, filter by color, and then yeah. So Geo Studios and Maddox Films, this is how they perform. Like they've had 3 movies, and if you don't want to filter them by color, you can add text filters as well, which is sort of like conditional formatting, but a little less attractive when you have to look at it. So then performing individual analysis on all of these becomes really easy. Let's go back to that huge data set again. All right. Okay, so we got back the data set. And so Now, doing this individually and, like, I mean, doing this manually for each unique thing might be like really hard to understand, all right? So there are a couple of things you can do, like Excel has automated these tasks for you. You just have to select your data set again. Let's select everything. Okay, let's select everything and let's go to, okay, let's go to something called pivot table. I'll just click on a pivot table. So what pivot table does is it it lets you consolidate your data. It lets you filter your data according to how you wish in a more smooth and in a more organized manner. So if you click on create pivot table, you'll see a table and then you'll see the table range, which is okay with me as of now. And then you can choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. I always prefer if it's in a new worksheet. So I'll say, okay, a new worksheet has been opened. And then on the right hand side, you guys can see there are some columns over here. So movie, and for now I'll say movie weekend. And then you can see on the left side, there's a column name, which again has filters and which, gives us the necessary output. And over here, it gives us the grand total, gives us the grand total. So I can add more things over here, but like on the right hand side, you can see something called values. So click on that values, and then you can say remove field if you want to remove this field. And then there are some more formats where you can let's add two more columns and understand this in bit detail. So I'll just say movie total as well. But and then if I click on movie director, you can see that it doesn't just create a new column, all right? It doesn't create a new column. Instead, it gives me the detail over here itself who the director of that film is. So this is the advantage of pivot table. Instead of consolidating the data and stuff, making it really hard to understand, it filters for you. But if I don't want this under here, I can just say movie director and then I can say move to column labels. So it makes column labels over it with that. So I'll say remove. Now I'll go to release date and okay, I'll go to banner and then okay, now let's choose actors for a change. Let's choose actors and then I can drag them. I can drag them and put them on filter. So now on the filter bar, I can make various settings so that each actor is okay. Each actor is yeah. So now that I've added actors and filter over here on top, you can see a drop down menu. I'll just say Ajay Devgan. Just select a random one, and then you can see the actors for these movies are in this movie, and so it has earned so much over the weekend, and it's totally so and so. You can do that for many things. You can also select like I see a lot of Ajay Devgan, so I'll select all Ajay Devgan movies, and this is how I get the data set. So it's pretty formatted, and then I can draw charts of it again if I want and understand this in more detail. Let's go back to the original sheet. But often what happens is it's quite hard to understand what kind of pivot tables do you need. Since the data set is so huge, so Excel already has a ready solution for that. In recommended pivot tables, you just click on that and click OK. You can uh, you can get a lot of recommended pivot tables. I might have chosen an empty value. Okay, yeah. So says there are a lot of blank values, so I'll have to work on that. Okay, let's just select these columns for now. And I'll say recommended pivot tables. Okay, blank columns again. Let me select only 3 columns. Oops. Okay. So there seems to be a lot of blank data. Okay, usually how recommended pivot tables works is it gives you a recommendation of pivot tables already, and then you can see ready-made pivot tables instead of operating on them individually and then understanding them. So and then that's how pivot tables work. If you ask me, pivot tables are like one of the most interesting and a really powerful feature come tool for Excel. So uh, so like that's how you go about and then I'll run over the small steps over it from the top. So the first thing you do is you filter out the data set, or else it'll have, by filter and cleanse, I mean, like if there are empty columns, if there are empty rows, just delete them off so that they don't cause problems later if you want. That's one first thing to do. And the second thing to do is make your Excel sheet in such a way that it's clean and it's easy to see. Um, a lot of times, right now I've said uh, fit to column, and that's why the data set becomes so huge. But a lot of times, actually, if the data set is not fit to column, it becomes really easy because right now, since the data set is so huge, as you guys could see, I had to zoom and zoom out so many times. But then, if the data set was condensed, it was small, it would be easy to perform more such operations. That's the second step. So make your Excel sheet in such a way that you can see it easily. And the third way to go about it is you have to make sure that some of these columns are, of proper data type. So you just select a column and it says percentage over here, which is rightfully so. And this column is actually a percentage. But if you go to the next column, it says general. You have to change that, and you can make it into any specific data types. For this situation, it's a number. And then if I scroll a bit right, you can see if you can see the date over here, and that is in general as well. So you can make it into a data type of time. So I'll just select short date. So you cleanse each column like this according to how it suits you. Just remember that you don't have to do it for every column because not every column is important. Like right now, while analyzing this data sheet, I didn't feel date was important, so I didn't do it in the beginning. So that's the second thing. And the next, there will be some particular columns which will stand out. Like in my this data set, I had banner, I had these numbers. So for that, I applied conditional formatting based on my requirement. And then to understand a little bit more deep of it, what I did is I went to filter and then filtered out the data sets which I need. You can go and apply charts to those data sheets. You can form pie charts, you can form scatter plots, and then in those charts, as again, you can make your own modifications, interesting modifications, and then uh, you can make it look really interesting, neat, and clean. So that's about how to go about it. And then you can also perform some operations like maximum, minimum, and average, so that you understand the columns, the numerical columns really, really well. All right, so that's about how to perform on Excel. Those are your basic, you know, basic formulas and basic tools you can use to make Excel work really productive. Um, there's a really cool shortcut to all of this though. Let me just select the entire data set again. So once I've selected, over here in the right corner, you can see a small button appears. It says quick analysis. So let me just click on that. And so quick analysis in its essence of it is it stands true to its name. Quick analysis is your quick method of analyzing what each and every column is, each and every bar is. So if I say data bars over here, you can see there's a blue data bar coming. So instead of plotting a separate chart which shows how huge each earning is, you can just say data bars, and then if I zoom in, you see the itself. So that's how data bars work. And then there are other things like color scale, icon set, greater than, conditional formatting. And then you go to charts, you say clustered bar, and then you go to, you can have sum, you can have average, you can have count, you can have percentage total, you can have running total, you can have sum again. And then tables, you can have blank pivot table again, and then sparklines, which are my favorite thing. Like sparklines are basically like, okay, let's say you have a huge column and every column has like first week earnings in May, second week earnings in May. So Sparkline gives you a data like a scatter chart in each cell like this, and then you can point out the trends and you can understand the trends better. That's about Sparklines. Yeah, so that's how interesting and cool quick analysis is. But then let's say, okay, let's zoom in a bit. And like when I calculated total, maximum, minimum, and average, what happened is it calculated total, minimum, average for everything. So what if I wanted it only for certain values? Instead of using filter and doing such a long procedure, sometimes what you can do is you can just use the formula sum if. You can just use the formula sum if, and then you can give the range of the data set. I'll select the range, and then I will type in the criteria, like if its earning is more than 10, if greater than, okay, if greater than or equal to 10, and then you give the range B2 to B136, and oops, okay. This seems to be an error. Oops, okay. So I'll just use the if formula so that it's easier to understand. All right, so if if and then if um b what's the first one, b2 greater than 20, say opening is hit, or say opening is flop and then close. Oops, error again. Okay, I think I clicked the wrong way. I have to close it double. Yeah, so it says opening is flop because B2 is less than 10. So that's how conditional formatting works. So I can just drag this down and you know what, let's just make a new column for this. Insert opening and then I'll type it again equals to if shift holder greater than 10 open opening with or just say opening block. It's, okay, so it says false. Um, I forgot to add a comma over here. Okay, so no should work. So yeah, it says oh, drag these things down again, and then you can see opening hit over here because it's more than 10. B3, B4, and yeah, so this works pretty decent. So that's how if works. Some if works in a similar manner. It adds only those columns which are greater than your condition that meets. So now that I performed all this analysis, a lot of time we'll have to present these in a PDF format or in a printout sheet. So if you go to the file over here, and you'll see on the left side, you have some columns like print, share, etc. So I'll click on print, and then you can see not the whole Excel sheet is not really visible. So first of all, I'll change the orientation. I'll make it into landscape, and then I'll say fit sheet on one page. So it fits the entire thing on one page, including the charts as well. So on these empty spaces, usually what people do is they add more charts, so it's utilized properly. And you give it to print, and then it prints properly. So that's how you give it to print. And the same applies for PDF as well. While saving it as a PDF, you can either select what columns and rows you want. Like if I want only these, I'll go here, I'll say save as, and in this PC, I'll just, okay, uh, I'll just say add a place or Excel workshop. And then I can say save as type PDF. Um, I can say save as type PDF, and then I'll click on options. I'll say only selection because I want only the selected columns. And if I click on OK, it saves, and then it gives the PDF as an output. So that's how you go about it. Ah, so before I conclude the workshop, like I have revised all the tools. I've taught you guys how to save, and that's pretty much how you go about the basics of Excel. But then, what if you want to go a bit further from here? Okay, like what next after learning the basics? So what you can do is you can learn a couple of things from here. You can, you can learn something. You can learn something called advanced Excel, which has more tools like you go insert, and then you can do something called what if analysis. Over here, you can do what if analysis, and then you can use more and more formulas for date, time, financial. You can use VLOOKUP. You can use more such features in advanced Excel. Another way to go about it is you can go to statistics and accounting. If you are into stats, you can do that as well. Or you can, if you're just an Excel enthusiast, you can just go to click on home, and then instead of selecting a blank workbook, you can click on more templates. you can click on more templates and you can just search for templates. Let's say I search just something called account, and then it'll give me pre-made accounts and spreadsheets which have already been formulated. So I just have to like click on one of the templates, it'll download and it'll open. So all these things have been just worked out for me. I just have to enter some details and then the whole Excel sheet will work accordingly. So those are some ways to go about it. There's a lot of interesting YouTube videos and websites from where you can learn these things. But however, if you are a programming enthusiast, you can check out something called Google App Scripts. So what you do is you just go to Google Spreadsheets, and then under Tools, you can just open Google Apps. You can just open Google Apps, and you can start coding using JavaScript so that it's more powerful and uh, uh, Google App Scripts provides a whole new world for how you can go about it. So um, I'll be adding some resources in the chat box. I'll send you guys the doc link just a minute. While we are at it, any other doubts or any other reviews for me, guys? How was the workshop? Okay, thank you. It was very informative. So right now I'm adding I'll send a doc link on the chat box. It has all the resources for learning Excel further. And I just don't look at Excel as just another tool where you'll have to do things from the scratch. Don't really look at Excel that way. Excel has pretty much everything automated for you by default. You know, you can have VLOOKUPs, you can make charts by on your own. Instead of doing everything manually, you already have inbuilt templates and things like that. So, and then like I said, you can you can learn advanced statistics. If you click on the doc link which I've sent, I've added a playlist which will teach you about statistics in Excel. And then you can also learn about Google App Scripts. Personally, since most of us are engineers and most of us are programming enthusiasts, I prefer you guys really look into Google App Scripts and Google Spreadsheets, because ideally, if you ask me the difference between, okay, Sanket, how is spreadsheet different from Excel? Ideally, in its essence, Excel is more like a locally enabled software, whereas uh, Google App Scripts is more cloud related software. So Excel is used by teachers, it's used by students, accountants, statistics to do things locally. But if you want, as a programmer, if you want to take things to the next level, Google App Scripts and spreadsheets is definitely your next step. But then, yeah, having said that, um, personally, my next favorite thing would be to learn um, like statistics and Excel, which I really look forward that all of you learn and get back to me. So yeah, that's about it. What I had to share, my basic knowledge of Excel. Any doubts or any review feedback? Okay, maybe.
Thank you,
Uh,
Sanket, for the insightful, fun yet informative hands-on session on the MS Excel. And thank you for teaching all the smart techniques, the ideas and formulas, and for creating an intensive educational experience within a short amount of time. And thank you also for telling us how to use the formulas for generating the random numbers, for sum, for multiplication, and also how to cleaning and formatting the data, and how to use the conditional formatting, and how to use how to handle multiple sheets, and how to use the filter tool, and pivot table, and other data analysis tools, and also the data visualization tools like charts. So I thoroughly enjoyed the session, and I also hope the participants enjoyed it and learned a lot. So if there are any questions, the participants can drop their questions in the chat box, or they can also unmute their mics, and Sanket will address your questions. I think if there are no questions, so we'll just go on. So I'll again thank Sanket for the very insightful and informative session. So I request Rashi to hand over a small token of appreciation to Sanket. Uh, please, Rashi.
Hey, that's
Thank you,
really cool.
Sanket.
Yeah, that's
Thank you,
really cool.
Sanket.
Thank you guys for giving me this opportunity. Well, one last tip I would like to leave is, even though Excel is so automated and it's full of features that works on its own, the magic in with Excel lies in your creativity and how you plan to use these columns really, like how you plan to use the maximum, minimum, average. So that's one last tip that I would like to leave. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanket. And thank you all the participants for attending and participating in today's event. There's a link which is posted in the chat box, which is about the feedback form. So kindly fill the feedback form and tell us how you liked the event, and also help us to bring more content like this. So once again, I'm thanking everybody, and this is IEEE Bangalore Student Coordination Team signing off. So everybody can leave the meeting now. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Ma'am, hello.
Yes.
Ma'am, can I get resource person contact, ma'am?
Uh, no, like if he's there, I think he can just share his mail ID. But
Sorry, what? I did. I was not able to hear.
Can you just repeat the question again? Who's someone have a doubt, Sanket?
Sir, I asked your
Yeah,
contact details.
oh yeah, I can drop the email ID in the chat box. Yeah, drop my email ID in the chat box. You can always get back.
thank you, everyone.